Welcome to this explainer. Look, have you ever stared at a task you desperately needed to finish, only to find yourself scrolling endlessly through your phone instead? You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're basically going to act as your personal productivity masterclass. We are going to decode the actual science of taking action and hand you a foolproof framework to break those procrastination habits for good. So let's dive right in and figure out exactly what's holding you back.
We've all been there. Why do we always say, I'll just start tomorrow? It's this universal trap we set for ourselves. We constantly tell ourselves, okay, I'll finally tackle that massive new project next Monday, or new year, new me, I'll completely change my habits then. But honestly, by doing this, we're creating this massive gaping canyon between our actual goals and our daily reality. Because here's the thing, your brain is biologically designed to protect you from things that feel risky or uncomfortable. And change inherently requires risk. So your brain just wraps you in bubble wrap and whispers, hey, maybe tomorrow. But I need to share an incredibly blunt truth straight from our sources. It says, motivation is complete garbage. I know it sounds super harsh, but it is deeply, fundamentally true. We absolutely have to shatter this illusion that you somehow need to feel ready, or feel magically inspired, or feel highly motivated before you can begin. Because if you're just sitting around on your couch, waiting for lightning to strike and for the perfect feeling to arrive, well, that is a guaranteed recipe for never seeing your dreams come true and, frankly, dying with a whole lot of regret. You are literally never going to feel ready to do the things that scare you.
Okay, here is the syllabus for today's masterclass. We're looking at 1. The procrastination-stress connection. 2. Breaking the avoidance habit. 3. The 5-second rule. 4. The 5-minute start. 5. Real-world application scenarios. And finally, 6. Making the ultimate decision. We're going to systematically break down the psychology of hesitation, and I promise to equip you with science-backed tools to change your behavior today. Let's jump right into section 1, the procrastination-stress connection. We really need to fundamentally redefine what procrastination actually is. And in doing so, we're going to completely ditch the heavy guilt and self-blame that usually comes with it. We usually think of procrastination as this deep character flaw, right? Like we're just inherently lazy. But science tells a completely different story. Procrastination has absolutely nothing to do with the actual work you're putting off. Instead, you simply have a subconscious habit of putting things off as a way to relieve stress. It's a stress relief habit. That's it. It is not a core identity trait. Moving on to section 2, breaking the avoidance habit. Now that we've established that procrastination is just a habit, we can look at the neurological science of how this whole loop operates. Because hey, if it's a habit, we can use science to break it. Every single habit out there has 3 distinct parts. First, there's a trigger. And in the case of procrastination, that trigger is always stress. Second, there's the pattern you repeat, which is avoiding the work. And third, there's the reward. You know, that tiny, fleeting little hit of temporary stress relief you get when you watch a funny video instead of making a tough phone call. Now, since you can never permanently eliminate life's stressful triggers, life is just stressful sometimes, your only scientific option is to change step 2, your pattern of avoiding tasks. Which brings us perfectly to section 3, the 5-second rule. To interrupt that stored neurological pattern of avoidance, we need a way to literally hack our own brains. We need a sort of neurological Trojan horse, which brings us to our absolute core tool for taking immediate action. The tool is breathtakingly simple, but it is mathematically precise. The very moment you feel hesitation, the split second you realize you're checking the news instead of working, you need to first acknowledge your stress. Then you literally count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And listen to me, it is absolutely vital that you count backward, not forward. Why? Because counting forward doesn't require any real focus. You could count to 100 on autopilot. But counting backwards, that forces your brain to focus. It literally flips a neurological switch and awakens your prefrontal cortex. Now that's the exact part of the brain required to learn new behavior, break patterns of overthinking, and take inspired action. It acts as a starting ritual that interrupts those deeply ingrained patterns of fear, anxiety, and the comparison trap. It essentially rescues you from your own excuses. By the time you hit 1, your brain is primed and ready to move. All right, section 4, the 5-minute start. Because once your prefrontal cortex is fired up and activated by that countdown, you can't just sit there. You have to channel that brand new neurological momentum immediately into physical action. So, here's how you apply that momentum without getting totally overwhelmed. Just commit to working for 5 minutes. That's all. Because remember what we talked about earlier? Your actual problem isn't the work itself. Your problem is the habit of avoiding it. You don't need to commit to writing a whole novel or finishing a massive financial report right this second. You literally just need to commit to starting for 5 mere minutes.
And the data on this is wild. Incredible research reveals a staggering statistic. If we can just get you to start, just get you over that initial hump for those first 5 minutes, 80% of you are going to keep going and actually finish the task. 80%. The starting is absolutely the hardest part. Once you're in motion, both physics and psychology are completely on your side. Let's look at Section 5, Real-World Application Scenarios. I want to make sure we ground this in reality, so let's apply these exact scientific steps to some very precise everyday situations. Consider these deeply relatable scenarios. Maybe you're walking into work and you know you have to make 13 difficult phone calls to high-level executives, and honestly, you are terrified. Or maybe you lost a chunk of your savings in a stressful Bitcoin crash. Or perhaps you just had a massive blowout fight with your significant other, and you're carrying all that heavy emotional stress straight into the office, and you're putting off your new personal projects as a result. The solution is always exactly the same. Acknowledge the overwhelming stress you're feeling, then count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just work for 5 minutes. It is a universal framework.
And finally, Section 6, making the ultimate decision. To truly master your productivity, we need to zoom out a bit. We need to understand the immense power of making a decision right here, right now, instead of passively waiting for things to magically get easier. The sources present this really beautiful and powerful metaphor. Think about your life like a map. Every single positive and negative event that has ever happened to you is just a dot on the map of your life, and it has meticulously led you to this exact moment. True power is knowing that right now, this very minute, is also just a dot on your map. And this dot is actively connecting you forward toward an extraordinary final destination that you haven't even experienced yet.
Which brings us to this unavoidable truth. If you want to change your life, you must make a decision to change your life. The sources make it hilariously, painfully clear. No one is going to magically show up at your house, kick your front door down, and drag you off the couch to go for a run or start your business. Sitting around passively and waiting to finally feel ready is simply not a valid option anymore. The counting? It's a Trojan horse. The real secret is that the very moment you begin counting, you have actually made a firm, conscious decision to change.
So here is your final assignment for today's masterclass. The second this explainer ends, I do not want you to just click on another piece of content. Seriously. I want you to acknowledge whatever it is you have been putting off. I want you to count backward, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Launch yourself right through that resistance and take that incredibly important first step toward the thing that is meant for you. Because starting is literally the only way you are ever going to get there. The only question left is, what will your first 5 seconds look like?